An overnight bus ride put me in a small town right after dawn. I then took my sore body and tired mind to a charming little hotel. Fortunately, they had rooms available, so as usual, I cached my bags in the room and headed out for a walk through the town I had been looking forward to seeing, and a major destination for me, the ancient town of Hoi An. I was able to walk only a few blocks from my hotel to the old town. I had seen bits of Hoi An in film clips and in pictures on websites, but I wasn't sure what it would be like. Frankly, it surprised me. I walked down quiet, narrow streets, blocked off to motorized traffic. The yellow morning sun shone brightly upon the cobblestone sidewalks as I looked around at tile roofs and carved balustrades. The buildings were of two primary designs: old French colonial with masonry walls and multi-paned windows, or Chinese with paneled wooden walls, small courtyards, and delicate woodwork. The old town ran along a riverfront to an amazing 16th century Japanese bridge. The old houses, the woodwork, the tile roofs, and the dragon-flanked gateways gave me the question: what century was this from? I felt as if I had just stepped into the pages of a novel by Pearl S. Buck. But I hurried on to my first stop, what Hoi An is famous for. Tailors, of course. Not that one. I had done my research, and brought some pictures of suits I wanted. I stopped at one tailor, dropped off a few ideas, then went to another tailor, and then another. I had saved up for this, and the suits averaged about $150 a piece. But I think I may have overspent a bit. Oh well, once a suit is cut, it's too late to ask for your money back. Hoi An, as we know it, came into prominence as an important center for shipping and commerce during the late 1500s. Merchants from China and Japan settled here, and ships from all over the Far East, as well as Portugal and the Netherlands, sailed up the river to unload their cargoes. By the 1700s, the Chinese merchants considered Hoi An the best trading spot in all of Southeast Asia. However, when Emperor Zhalong gave the French exclusive trading rights to the nearby port of Da Nang, the bustling center of Hoi An quickly faded into a backwater. In fact, I wasn't the only one who noticed the time capsule aura that Hoi An's buildings and streets projected. I saw a film crew shooting scenes for, well, a war film, naturally. But apparently the locals had seen this before, and took it in stride. In a way, though, the town's obscurity was a blessing, because a great number of the buildings and streets were largely preserved, and the old town retains much of its 18th century charm. That is, if you discount the souvenir shops, the tailors, the restaurants, and of course, the crowds of tourists.
It was the end of August, and I had been working as a teacher at my center for almost a year. Fortunately, our company gave us about 5 days holiday, and I decided to go with some of my colleagues to visit Ha Long Bay. So late one morning, we found ourselves at the docks in Ha Long City, after a harrowing 3-hour bus ride from Hanoi, of course. Since our tour company insisted on charging us 50% for any drinks we brought on board, we, of course, proceeded to hide it all in our luggage.
How are we going to be able to drink this surreptitiously, though? We'll figure it out later.
After stowing the liquids away, in short order, we were aboard a launch, picking our way through the forest of boats, and then unloaded on a junk, which we would have all to ourselves. The boat was a squat Chinese junk of about 70 foot in length overall, and about 25 feet of beam. We were quartered 2 per cabin, which each had a bathroom or a head, soft beds, and air conditioning. The second deck had a dining room, or maybe it's called a mess. We went to the foredeck for tea.
Tastes like Christmas.
It does, doesn't it?
Followed by a multi-course meal in the dining room. Not half an hour later, we were underway, out into the bay. It seemed that due to the layers of regulations, all boats followed the same schedule to the same places. So we asked our crew to skip the cave and leapfrog ahead of the other tours into the heart of the islands. Ha Long is a large bay filled with small limestone islands and rocks, each covered in green scrub. The boat slowly trolled through the narrow channels between steep green cliffs that rose immediately out of the water. It was a maze of waterways that opened up to a different view every few minutes. The weather was a bizarre smattering of rain squalls and sunshine, and these gave amazingly varied lighting conditions. Of course, we didn't just look. We also relaxed and talked and played Chinese chess.
Does Reese need to go and get medical attention today, or what did he say?
He'd just woken up and he wasn't really that sure what was going on.
A little ways into the bay, we stopped at a quiet sound with several little islands around our ship, and hooked up to one of the anchored buoys. It was nearly deserted, and we got into kayaks for a serene paddle around the area.
Bomb for the reload.
And the stillness was broken.
Will everyone stop getting shot?
By the melodious voice of Mr. Johnny. Marshall and Cameron taking up the rear. Naturally.
Too easy.
So here we are on a kayak in Ha Long Bay. Beautiful limestone topography on a perfect day.
Silence only broken by one loutish communist. Bomb for the reload.
From Beatlestown.
The short paddle around seemed to tire most of us out, so we retired to the upper deck to relax.
Oh God!
It'll be Oktoberfest. Then all the girls would have to have their shoulders covered. It wouldn't work.
That's okay, they're still sexy. They managed to be sexy.
And to jump in the water.
3, 2, 1, jump!
As the day waned, the other boats began to catch up with us for night anchorage, absconding our solitude. Yet even this did not eliminate the beauty of the location as the sun set.
What a loser. Uh-oh. It's the Oriental Sails.
And night set in while we waited for dinner to be prepared.
Bound, 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 bound for the reload, reload.
with the melodious voice of the Scouser ringing out. Finally, we went to the galley, and dinner was served. After this, we broke out the cards for some Texas Hold'em.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. And this is quite amazing, isn't it? You're like, wow.
I will check.
Using toothpicks for chips, but I was soon out, and I didn't opt for another buy-in. Yet I stuck around to see who won. Surprisingly, the talkative lady in stripes won again. And again, taking all comers.
Full house.
Oh, bloody hell. Full house.
Despite Marshall's coaching.
Because
Cleaned out the master.
Now, Full House Ed.
See, this is why I wanted to tell you when it was happening.
Ed now has
Because there was math
that was
involved.
good, man. That was very good.
Late in the evening, several of us went topside to talk and to watch the lightning storm overhead.
I don't know, like, she's in there doing, like...
I didn't stay up too late, and I turned in pretty early. I awoke at 7 to a sudden morning rain squall. The rain came in rapidly and intensely. But it stopped, and the sky cleared just as quickly. Not too long after breakfast, our boat began to make its way back to the dock. We again passed through the forest of limestone islands. Finally, we were moored and drove back down the harrowing highway to Hanoi. I had been in Hanoi for about a year and a half, and finally I had been able to see the #1 tourist destination in that region. Overall, I would say it was worth the trip, despite the murky water and the crowds. My name is Caleb, and this is Ha Long Bay, a verdant maze of marine towers.